You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to figure out a way just to have the Iron Lady do the show. She'll just do the whole show and all. She'll ask all the questions and talk in opera sing all the time. Is that a thing? Opera sing? I don't know. Anyway, guys, we have an amazing guest on the show. We're going to be sharing her story today. But in the meantime, we have to extort you. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss for your family and friends. YouTube.com/Chris Voss. LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss, one of the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Don't dig too far. There's danger out there on the internet. There's a dark zone. Don't go in the dark zone. Stay in the light. Anyway, guys. I don't know what's going on with Star Wars and the internet today. I don't know, Chris is making shit up again. Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. We have an amazing young lady on the show, Pav Lertjitbanjong, the founder of Layoff. Ready? Joins us on the show today. We're going to be talking to her about her experience, and she's going to be telling us a lot of cool stuff. I've been talking in the pre-show about how she utilizes AI, not only for her business, but man, she gets stuff done. I think I'm finding some new ways that I need to utilize AI, and I think I'm going to just have AI do the show from here on out. Anyway, welcome to the show, Pav. How are you?
Hi, Chris. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm great.
Thank you for having us as well. Me and the AI bot, evidently, that I made and just invented. So give us your .com, so where can people find you on the interwebs?
Yes. So I'm Pav. I'm the founder of Layoff Ready, a platform that helps ambitious women who are, go from like quietly burnout or already got laid off, a little bit panicking, and wondering what's next, right? To be able to fund their freedom and make work optional before life forces you to.
Is it just targeted toward women, or can men get in on this deal?
We don't discriminate, but majority of my audience, if you want to come hang with us, be my guest.
Well, it's women juggle a lot nowadays. So a lot of single moms out there. I have a big dating group, so I know a lot of single moms are trying to make everything work. And then, everybody is. And then a lot of layoffs are coming. I mean, we're kind of in a downturn right now. There's a lot of people here in America that are looking for jobs. So it sounds like, from what I understand with what you do, you kind of help people prepare themselves for some of those things. Tell us about how that works.
Yes. So basically, I help high achievers turn their what I call smart, lazy genius, which basically are their existing skills or network or even existing money, that they already have to be able to like build their financial security, but not just financial security, but also like career security and life security. Because, Chris, most high achiever are secretly exhausted. And I remember those days really vividly from my corporate days. They feel very trapped in this golden handcuffs, and just what you talked about earlier before on, layoffs are coming. It's not just a matter of if it's coming, but when, with AI advancement and all that. So, lots of people are stuck in the jobs that they no longer love or feel like they already are outgrowing them. But still like a little bit afraid to walk away because, the benefits are so good. The stocks are not fully vested yet, so don't know if they are financially ready. So the problem is, no one ever taught us how to prepare for the job loss or life reset before things happen. And don't get me wrong, like if you go on, the internet, there are so many experts or gurus are teaching you how to do that after things already break. But like, why do we have to wait that long, to actually fix things that we know that is inevitably are coming?
So tell us about more about Layoff, the company. You've got Layoff Ready. How did you develop this? What was the proponent of it? And, how did you get the idea that you're like, you know what, this is what I need to do?
So, okay, first of all, let me maybe just briefly walk you through what Layoff Ready is actually all about. For me, Layoff Ready means that the freedom or of the of options, that you can walk away from any situation, any people, boss, jobs or relationships that no longer are serving your highest good on your own terms. So being layoff ready doesn't mean that you are expecting like disaster to happen, but you are basically building your unshakable financial and career resilience foundation. So you never have to feel trapped again. Because to be honest with you, Chris, my first layoff was, and we did touch on this a little bit offline. My first layoff was during my divorce, when I walked away from my divorce with barely anything but my 2 pet rabbits.
Wow.
And, yes. And, at the time, I didn't really prepare because you see, like, I got married to a rich man. I thought I was set for life, and things were great and everything. But, life happened, right? So I never really had to be financially prepared. Luckily, I still had my job, and you're gonna laugh. I couldn't laugh at the time, but what really got me out of that was one day I was talking to my lawyer, and she's like, Pav, in order for you to get a divorce, the first step is to do budgeting. And it took me like 6 months, Chris. Finish the whole budgeting. Really? It was just more about the mindset. So to my surprise, I sift through like all my accounts and found a hidden 401k that I set it and forget it, invested for years. And I was like, oh crap, I didn't even know that I was a millionaire in the making, at the time when I was like sitting, like in a, how do I say that? A shoebox apartment in New York City, crying on the floor with my 2 pet rabbits. And ever since then, that was like my starting point that, okay, nobody's going to come to save you. I have to be I need to be my own rich man. I need to save myself. So that was like the spark of, okay, like I need to do something to help not just me, but like women in so many, that there's so many women in my situation that didn't feel that they are, preparing their career or financially prepare to like really be able to get that unshakable resilience. And that was like the starting point of Layoff Ready, more so in my thoughts. Up until recently that I actually left my corporate job, that's when, it came to fruition.
Wow.
At the Layoff Ready company.
You fired yourself basically from someone else's job and made your own. I love it. And so how do you do this? I see on the website there's Pav AI, your AI-powered financial reset companion. So my understanding is you've utilized AI to help automate maybe stuff with your life and business?
So Path AI is more so like a interface that I use for the members in my community to like basically in there, I put in, I don't even know how many pages long of like all the knowledge from not just from but also the research that I've learned from talking to so many people. And before that though, Chris, I've actually spent over, I would say like 1,000 hour plus to try and fail different side hustles to really found out that, oh my gosh, the only side hustle that is actually working is the one that is aligned with your God-given purpose and is something that you already have within you. Or, think about like how, maybe people in corporate, we already have our existing skills that the companies already pay us big bucks for. We just don't know how to translate that, the corporate skills into the non-corporate setting and make the money from there. So basically, that's kind of like the all the knowledge that I put in there, and then the members can go in and ask different questions.
So you got a membership community people can join and get involved with then?
Yes.
Fun is fun. So you build this out, and how much time do you think utilizing AI, or maybe how much money savings or utilization you've gotten from AI? It's like AI we just had a show earlier. We were talking about pre-show where we talked about AI and how much time it saved me so far in my life. I think you've taken it definitely to the steroids level, and maybe I need to do the same thing too. But the amount of time you can save and everything else, and just automating your life, how is that? How's that really done for you, and some of the things that you can, that might do for people that want to consume your product?
Yeah, so Chris, that's a great question. I would say, okay, first of all, tremendously. And without AI, I don't think that I could get where I am today. Because I left my job in like a few months ago, and that's when I first started Layoff ready and make this my full-time official job. But basically AI is integrated into like every workflow that I'm doing, starting from like helping me like brainstorming ideas, building content, and by the way, like for content, and this is like something that a lot of people are already doing by automating your content everywhere, right? And then like creating the content. So I already have that process automated there. And I would say, like, in terms of the clients or members interaction, this helps tremendously, because obviously there's only one path, but there are right now we have 200 women in our membership. So
Wow.
I can't just be everywhere and be everything for everyone at the same time. So this really helps offload a lot of burden. And and by the way, so like say every Friday we have our Q&A session. I like by maybe like Thursday, I already have AI analyze. Okay, like these are the top questions a lot of members are asking, and already given me the guideline. Not tell me how to answer, but give me the guideline on okay, like this is the direction, or the sentiment of the members that how we can lead the conversation into the next day. Yeah, so it does help tremendously. And by the way, Chris, you asked about like how did AI save in terms of the money, right? So I think like at this point, since Layoff Ready is still a startup, basically I don't need to raise the money. I am not digging into to my savings to build a company. Basically, we're running everything organically, and also like the ads. Right now, we are not doing any ads, but we get people from like the words of mouth, and also AI is helping me finding leads. So, I don't know how to quantify that in terms of the number yet, but it does save a lot.
Sounds like it does save a lot. I need to automate some of this stuff. I mean, I don't talk to clients much. There's a bit of emails that go back and forth, but I can see if you're, running, I used to have hundreds of employees, or up to 100 employees that work for me. Boy, I would have loved AI to try and run some of those folks and get them. So the main focus that you're talking about is having people learn to be layoff ready. What do most high achieving professionals get wrong when it comes to success and financial freedom?
Oh my gosh. I think there are lots of things. Let me think. Like, I think that the top things though is that in today's world, loyalty is not always rewarded. And burnout tend to be normalized, as, if XYZ person is working hard, burning the midnight oil. So that means that, he's busy climbing the ladder, doing good things, so he get promotion and all that. But like, life doesn't have to be this way. There are so many different segments in life. But yeah, I would say like in today's world is more about like loyalty is not always rewarded, versus like in the past, in our parents' era, where, people have pension. So right now, yes, we have 401k, but most people don't really have a lot of money there. So yeah, that's like one of the, mindsets that, or sentiment that people are talking about.
Yeah, it's people always have this job mentality. I've worked for myself all my life, and I love it because the only person who can really fire me is myself, and I've done that a couple times. thanks to the 2008 housing crisis. But it's nice because I'll hear of like, Facebook laid off 50,000 people today, and you're like, I hope they kept some smart people. I don't know. They just sounds like they just lopped off a bunch of heads, and it didn't matter how hard you worked or how good you worked. When I was young, I did work for companies, and sometimes no matter how hard I worked, the layoffs came, the recession came, and I was like, what about that loyalty, eh? And they were like, here's a pizza and your pink slip. It's a LinkedIn joke about the pizza and all that stuff. What are the practical steps the audience could take today to become layoff ready without quitting their job first?
Yeah, and Chris, just one thing, like to your point about like the big tech or big firms layoff. Like if you notice the trend though, you tend to see their stocks go up after the mass layoff, and that's because the cost, right? Because you are the cost and they are eliminating you, so hence more profit for the company. So like when people think that job security and loyalty is equal loyalty and performance, like that's not true. The layoffs are about profits, the bottom line, not loyalty.
Oh yeah, they're making their money.
Yes. So yeah, totally. I think that's what it comes down to. And we've also seen like even like with AI advancement sometimes, and I'm not gonna name the companies, but I'm sure that you can research and find that. But they are using AI advancement as an excuse, at least for now, to outsource. And we talk about like outsource like tens of years ago, but now the outsourcing to like India, for example, is still happening, and it's kind of like facade under the name of like, layoff because of AI efficiency and so on.
So a little bit of tricky dicky there. Are you sure that Corporate Valley, Silicon Valley would actually do that to us? That seems.
Oh, no, never.
Oh, no, never. I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg has got the best of integrity because he has such a great track record. At least that's my opinion.
Yes. We love Facebook. We love the tool. And please, Mark Zuckerberg, please keep the Facebook group. This is like gold. It's free community for everyone. Okay, so go ahead, Chris.
The other question I had for you, you walked away from a 300K job at 43 to retire from corporate. What was the pivotal moment that made you decide to say, I'm not working here anymore? Did they offer you pizza and a pink slip? No, I'm just kidding. That was a fallback joke.
Honestly, I didn't just burn out, but I completely broke down. But when I say that though, it's not like, broke down in a sense of like being like dramatic exit or anything like that in a public way. No.
Oh, that's too bad. Those make great TikToks.
Right. Yeah. You're not seeing me on TikTok doing that. But, so there was like no screaming, no meltdown, but it was like I broke in silence. And I think a lot of women can relate, or pretty much like, people in corporate can relate to this. Like in between Zoom calls, sometimes I would just mute myself and cry because it was just like so hard, with all the things that you have to deal with. And, you still are functioning, right? So like I still hit all the deadlines, make six figures, but deep inside, I felt like all the success in the world, couldn't really trade the peace that, or the lack of it that I didn't have inside. I felt like I was so empty inside. But the moment that was, okay, like I really need to pull the plug, Chris, was when I was missing my grandmother's last breath.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I was just too busy working on a PowerPoint presentation for a meeting that I don't remember anymore. And I kept making excuse. And by the way, she was 100 years old, so definitely she lived a full life. But
Good for her.
but I'm sure like you can relate to the story as in like, sometimes you feel like, okay, I'm due to meet this person to like go visit them or your family member. And then you wait. And that was just the same story because like, too busy doing XYZ. So, like for me, that slide number, that 37 was I call that my pivotal point. It's not because it mattered, but it's because it cost me the goodbye that I will never get back. Basically, the whole time that I was in corporate, I was just literally living my life through FaceTime, watching, people that I love grow old and not really being the participant in that life. So I thought to myself, okay, I need to like really shift something, and that's what I did.
Yeah. I mean, that's, you bring up a good point. No one's ever going to remember that PowerPoint. And we're kind of always putting stuff off. There's kind of like that old, what was that Cat Stevens song, the Cat's in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon. You guys like, I'll play with you, son, when I get some more work done, because he's trying to pay the bills and stuff. And, the time goes by. And I think I can think of moments in my life where I wish I'd spent more time with people or the dogs that I loved. And, I was running around just trying to, take care of everybody and make the money. And you're just like, okay, well, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll spend time, I even do that now with my puppy, with my dog. We've lost last year I lost my other dog. And so for a year, she's been really depressed. And so I try and go out 2 or 3 times a day and play with her. And it's just hard. It's, sometimes you're just like, I got to do this thing and it's important to her. And I've got to make her feel good. And a lot of times, we just put these things off. I'll talk to grandma tomorrow. I'll talk to mom tomorrow. And sometimes people disappear from our life, and you just kill for 5 minutes back. So it's great that you built this program and gave people the ability to have more freedom. Now you call it no backup plan, no peace. That sounds like my life since 18, starting my first company. What does that mean to someone who's stuck, burnout, or fearing layoffs right now?
Yeah, and first of all, Chris, I'm so sorry about the loss of your dog, because I totally can relate. Losing pets is like losing your family members. Even though sometimes people say, "Oh, it's just a dog, it's just a rabbit," but they're your family. Yeah. So no backup plan, no peace. So basically, most people don't realize until it's too late, right? So when you have no backup plan, you have no peace, no leverage, no freedom. And when I talk about freedom, I'm talking about freedom of options, because ultimately, like what does freedom actually like? Freedom is a very subjective word. Some people can say, "Oh, financial freedom," but when you actually drill down into like what does financial freedom actually means to you, right? To people, it comes down to not just having a few money, but it's more so on freedom to be with people that your heart desires. So layoff ready is by being layoff ready, you're giving yourself the freedom. By having a backup plan, you're giving yourself that freedom of options. And by the way, I will even stretch to say this, and some people are going to hate me when I say this. When you have no backup plan, you have a self-respect issue. And I was one of them. When before my layoff, the first layoff, as in my getting divorced, I did not
first layoff.
Yes, that was like my very first and only layoff in life was the divorce. I didn't really have much self-respect, as in, I thought, okay, I got married to a rich man, I'm set for life. Like, I didn't really feel that I was enough to be my own rich man. I didn't feel that I was enough to be able to build my own financial security. So because, like say when you're waiting for a layoff or waiting for life to happen to you, no backup plan, you are just neglecting yourself or like what your soul is really desiring. So it brings more anxiety.
Yeah, I mean, when I've fortunately I am my own backup plan, and I've gone through the cathartic moments like I mentioned before, 2008, where one of our biggest jewels in our empire of companies at the time, with me and my partner at the time, was a mortgage company. And then we had a bunch of other stuff that made money as well. We loaned out money and did different investments. And and that that iceberg came and whatever. And so I fortunately, know how to create businesses, know how to create money and earnings. And once the economy finally stabilized, for a while there, you couldn't move anything. And once the economy finally stabilized, I was able to rebuild and do stuff. I hit some skids in when COVID came and had to change my business dynamics and watched a lot of money burn for the first year. And, so your own backup plan, but having that, like you say, having that knowledge, having that skill and that ability where if you do get laid off from, I guess, a job and stuff like that, or maybe laid off from marriage, I'm going to start using that. And, you sleep a little bit better at night. Like recently I was kind of concerned about some of the things that are going on with these tariffs and what's going on with our politics and economy here. And, I'm kind of concerned about the economy because I like money. And I was like, well, you know how to survive and make this work and just work harder, work smarter, and do more stuff. And from the sounds of it, you need to adopt more AI from what you're doing. How do you stay motivated when everything feels uncertain? What keeps you going when you're facing setbacks in your life?
So I say two things. Like one thing, the first one actually is God. I always believe in God, and everything happens for a reason. So there are certain things that is within your power that you can solve, right? But there are also like things beyond my control, your control, our control. So I surrender that fully to God. And then I think like the other thing is trust yourself and stop playing small, especially for women. We were kind of wired to think to not own the room for the most part of my life. Like, I was born and raised in Thai culture, to like, okay, I was taught to stay obedient, to not make a noise, to like, kind of be a good girl and get good grades and don't bring troubles. Right. But I think more, how do I say that? But more and more you were told that, you started feeling like you don't really have a voice. You don't really, and then becomes that you don't really have that confidence within yourself that you can, be anything that you want. So I think like when things happen, resilience is very important, and it's rooted from the self-belief that you can be anything, and you can pull yourself from any situation that that presents.
And you get believe in the things that help you with your purpose and help you achieve them. So I'm looking on your website. Let's talk about a few things that you have here as your offer. You've got PAV AI, and then you've got Bold Rise Circle, and then some workshops and an emergency kit. Tell us about some of these resources. You got a bunch of other resources too. I think Purge Yourself book, Divorce Coaches Guidebook, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so PAV AI is basically a free tool that I think we touched about earlier on. This is like where I put all my knowledge and also what I've learned and from people. And by the way, before I've started all this, I probably spent like $20,000 in all the training and coaching. So it's not the material that is like IP from the teacher, but it's what I actually learn and absorb and kind of like interpret on my own from there. So it's a lot of knowledge in there. And by the way, so when you talk about like how do we like start to like get layoff ready, right? So like number one is to know your baseline, and this is like part of my what I'm teaching, which I call the BOLD method. Like B stand for baseline, your safety net, and then O is own your story, L is leverage your smart lazy genius, and D is design your own your exit. So when we talk about like the financial baseline, for me, even though I got an MBA in finance, Chris, I'll tell you this, like up until 38, that's when I actually truly learned financial literacy. And when I talk to women in my community, on like, hey, do you know like a very simple thing, like say, for example, your net worth? They don't know. It's not that they don't know the formula, right? Okay. Or if I ask them, oh, do you know what is your monthly runway, as in like your monthly expenses, how much you typically spend? They don't know. is because, especially the higher up you are in your career, the lesser you know about the person, like the very personal, intimate things, because you trust the expert to help manage that side of your finances. So Path AI can help you, not only just, walk you through step by step on, how to calculate your net worth, how do you, calculate your monthly expenses, but also where are the leakage in your expenses, right? Say, for example, for me, I have especially with AI tools, there's so many subscriptions, but there are a lot that I just subscribe and I didn't use. So that also help you, kind of see where the leakages actually are. So people find that, helpful in terms of kind of the starting point from there.
Oh, starting points, getting them done. Now, so the you've got the group for people can join. So the Bold Rise Circle, that's a group that people can join, or how does that work?
Yeah, so we are rebranding this to the Bold Escape Lab. And the reason, and the reason I say that is because we already have a course that teach people the Bold method, and that's a 5-day boot camp. However, what I found was from the first cohort was that people wanted to have more a continuity to really build their leverage, or to really, say from the course, you already know what your financial baselines are. You already know, own your story, who are you, or who is Chris or Path outside the corporate identity. You already know that, and then what are your existing skills from corporate or that you already have that can be transferable to make money outside. So you already have the core thing, but the lab itself is the continuation of that, to help you build your side business from there to and basically once you go into the lab, we pair you with I call accountability buddy. And this is what I wish I had, Chris, when things happen to me, during divorce, for example, that I wish I had somebody not just to talk to or give me advice, but also hold me accountable, that hey, Pav, you have XYZ goal, did you do it? Or why didn't you do it? To really be that, not just the guide, but someone to walk with you who are in similar situation to you that you can actually talk to.
That should be good. The it's support that people need, I think, and also a guide thing. I mean, you give people a lot of guidance on how to do all this. Now, I notice you also have workshops. There's a couple workshops you have listed here: the No Backup Plan, Smart Lazy Budgeting, and Wealth Organizer. Do you want to tease out maybe a little bit of that?
So right now, we are putting on hold the Smart Lazy Budgeting and No Backup Plan, because we're I'm opening a new cohort because we are finishing up the old one. Actually tomorrow. Okay. So we are pausing what I have existing right now, just to focus on the Bold method to help people leverage their existing skills and network like corporate.
And so people can stay in touch with you on the website and all that good stuff. As we go out, give people your final pitch out. Tell them how they can find out more, how they can reach out to you, how they can onboard, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes. So, if you fear layoff, you secretly are burnout. I know, I've been there before. Come hang out with us on the lab, or just, keep in touch on TikTok or LinkedIn. My TikTok is at Moments of Reset, and LinkedIn is Pav and then Lert, my last name.
I'd love to check it out. I don't know. Am I welcome over there? If is it mostly just women, or
if you like a lot of ladies, surrounded by ladies.
I love women, but I'm trying to figure out how to use this AI to do better. I was like I said, we had the AI guy on earlier, and I spent I was in Vegas this last weekend, and I spent the drive back. I was starting to get bored. I was listening to Sam Sam, I forget his last name, but I was Sam Harris. He had an AI guy on. They were talking about all sorts of different things of AI and what's kind of interesting how people are integrating AI into their lives. Like I have a friend who's older and he's kind of shut in because he had some brain damage, so he has a brain injury, and noises and people and complex things can really overwhelm him, and it was just typical for that injury. And so he spends a lot of time as a conversing companion and studying and learning things, ChatGPT, and it works for him. And it's healthy, I think, for him because it gives him somebody in his life. But it's interesting how we can adopt it and it becomes somebody. So anyway, I got bored the last couple hours of the show, and I'm like, let's see if I can get hooked on talking to ChatGPT. So I turned on the live mode and I didn't even know there was live mode. I started talking back and forth with her, and I guess for some reason I have a female voice. I was like, who picked that? Anyway, I don't know, for some reason I think of it, an old computer as, HAL from 2001 Space Odyssey or something. It's always, that robotic male voice. But, and so I started asking stuff and learning stuff, and I'm like, I asked it how to do my task list better. I'm like, how can I achieve things better and run a better task list and stuff? And so I've been kind of really thinking about some of the different ways to utilize it in the way you're utilizing it. So I'd love to check in on some of that too. All right. Well, Pav, give us the .coms one last time as we go out.
Yes, it's layoffready.com, layoffready.com.
Oh, maybe you can get me to get laid off from my job.
You need to teach me how to do your job.
I'm still learning to do it now. 16 years and 2,400 episodes, and I still come off some shows, and I'm like, you're an idiot. What are you doing? You're no talent hack. So anyway, thank you very much, Pat, for the show. I think we'll get it. I think we'll get it done by year 30. We'll finally get we'll master this whole podcasting thing by year 30. So we'll just stick with it. Thank you, Pat, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. And thanks so much for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1, the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. And that show's up.